Thank you, Lauda, for agreeing for this interview. It's so lovely to finally speak with you face to face, because I've researched a lot of stuff, and I've come across your work, and I absolutely love the material that you're putting out, and I really understand where you're coming from. Like a lot of the language you use, I really, it takes a while to register and understand what it means, but it served a lot of purpose in my life. So I just really wanted to thank you for that. And yeah.
My honor. It's my honor. I think it's like, it's embedded inside in ways that you don't recognize, and all you need to do is hear it, because it's an activation, right? And that's like a remembering. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Rose.
And you make, like, when I was researching a lot of the stuff that you talk about, you kind of hold that space for everyone, like it's a safe zone. I don't know, like it made me feel like I could still research about dark topics and not get too overwhelmed, and come back to your work and understand, like, find a happy medium inside myself to still search, and try and find the truth, and find true freedom here for everyone, because obviously it's really difficult on like the physical level. There's so many things running through people, and it's very hard to distinguish what's yours, what's not yours. So
yeah, I think it's interesting when you think that we're wading through literally everybody's ocean, and everybody's ocean has its own thing going on, everybody's universe, and everybody doesn't know whose is what. It all gets mixed up together. So all the oceans have everybody's fish in there swimming around, for lack of a better way to put it.
No, that's such a good term. Yeah, I
it's
think,
like, no, that was my fish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You got to put it in ways that everybody can get, because everything is energy, and I do think people are overwhelmed, and I do think that people don't know what's going on half the time with what they're receiving.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really difficult for people to be able to just really zero in and know with their discernment what is theirs and what isn't. This type of reality mixes everything up.
Yeah, exactly. It does. And it's part of my problem at the moment as well. I'm just swimming through all that murky stuff, trying to understand, like, because it's hard, for example, I do have a lot of arguments with my husband, and it's really difficult to understand where that's coming from, even after, understanding a lot of the material you talk about, alien influences, and then obviously other entities, and energy harvesting, all this stuff, and then emotional baggage that people have, the ego stuff. It's just like trying to figure out what is what, and like what just needs to be let go of, I guess. But
well, yeah, and also cellular memory, right? As soon as you're born with every single memory attached to the lineage of what this matter is, right, that you're carrying.
Yeah.
So oftentimes people are reacting to memories that are lodged inside that, and they don't even know why. It's the same as, is it rational for us to be afraid of spiders? What is that about? It is not rational for people to be afraid of something that they don't really have to deal with, but yet that is like a psychic fear that is across the board. Everybody has it, and nobody knows, well, where's the origin of that? Where did that come from? Was there once a big giant spider that terrorized the planet? Somewhere along the line there was a spider.
And actually spiders are not that they're not that harmful. No. If you get bitten, I mean, it's very rare that you would have something affect from a spider bite, but generally speaking, like even tarantulas, they're not that
No,
harmful.
except for where you are,
Yes.
the redback.
Yeah, the redback. Yeah.
Okay, that one. That one comes from the primordial spider I'm talking about, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, it must be.
Because that one's really small. It looks like, oh, what a lovely little spider. You know, it's
Yeah.
tiny. It's got a red little mark on it. And if that little tiny cute spider bites you, you're dead.
Yeah, that's right. Although I actually, it's funny you mentioned spiders because I do a weekly walk of my area, and I actually had a spider bite this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was very painful. But then I remembered, like, usually they're not harmful, and I think with the redbacks, I mean, they're quite distinguishing. If you get, yeah, if you get bitten by one, you'd
Yeah.
probably instantly know that.
You guys have those really big
dangerous.
ones, though, right? Those massive, big ones.
No.
Ooh, that, like, oh, I've seen those in Australia.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
I know the funnel web. You're talking about the funnel
funnel
web.
web.
Yeah, 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 yeah. They're
Those are
dangerous
big.
as well, actually. But
Are they really?
I heard, but I think there should be. I don't know. There's a lot of misconceptions about spiders, like you said. So I actually don't know.
But see, that's a subliminal fear people have, but nobody. It's not something that's rational because there's
Yeah,
really no reason for us to fear spiders. So this is what I mean. Like somewhere along the line, it has been embedded in our cellular memory.
yeah, okay.
And so then we carry it through, and all these lifetimes later, all these lineages later, everybody still has fears of spiders.
Yeah, it's strange. I
It's
want
just
to
little
get it. Huh?
it's just little things. That's the same way as when you're talking about arguing with your husband and
Yeah.
you don't know why. Sometimes you're just like, well, why are there certain triggers where you don't understand it? Because there shouldn't be a certain type of trigger, but yet it's there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're embedded with everything that ever existed. We're embedded literally with everything, every single solitary moment of consciousness we've had from the very beginning of our inception, we have with us, in us. Only it's buried, so you're not going to know what that is necessarily because you don't have the memories, but you will have the somatic memory and you'll react to something and you won't know why.
Yes, that makes sense. It's just trying to piece together where I understand what you mean because I have experienced that, like because it's from the emotional aspect, I guess, which you're talking about, where the memory is from. Do you believe that,
Well,
or?
I mean, I think it affects you in all levels, really, because the
Yeah,
whole point of remembering is that you've had something happen from the beginning of your creation. You carry that with you. If you haven't completed whatever it was you needed from it or haven't really gotten the memo, whatever the case may be, it's going to keep reliving through each of your lives until you finally, receive the letter in the mail and open it, so to speak.
yeah,
So I think that we are really, it's like we're the the tip of the iceberg. We are like our own tip of the iceberg.
yeah.
So we're sitting on our own iceberg.
Hmm.
We're only looking at the tip.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
but I mean, and then you put the dynamics of two people in one room. It's the dynamic of one person alone is a lot because you're talking about a universe, literally. So you put two universes together, where the majority of the quote space within that universe is dark matter because things are buried within like what feels like dark matter. It's almost impossible to connect with the memories with whatever that is, yet it's in there. So subliminally, one way or another, subconsciously, unconsciously, and sometimes consciously, we are the product of it all.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Yeah, that makes sense. Because obviously everyone has different influences, like you said. So
Yeah.
I believe, like, with the universe, then obviously, the time of their birth and all that sort of, like, astrologically, and then what land they were birthed on, and then also, yeah, all those sort of things as well play a
Yeah.
part. Yeah, because I
And
know,
the,
huh?
sorry.
Sorry, no, I was just gonna say, like, I'm born in Australia, but then obviously there's a lot of like here, obviously there was a massacre, that happened for the Aboriginals and so the First Nations of this country, and then so
Yeah.
there's a lot of that energy that's here, and it hasn't been addressed, and I think that um, just by ignoring it, a lot of people don't understand what land they're on, and that energy actually affects them a lot here, and it's really difficult. So I think that, like personally, that really affected my family. Like, it broke down my family, just because. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to blame or something, but it's just the understanding of what's happened here needs to be more. Like, it needs to come to light, I guess, to heal
Mhm.
properly, because a lot of people don't understand that it's been such a massacre on these people that
Yeah.
this country can't heal, or even, begin to properly understand where they are, even if they don't acknowledge what has happened first, because it just keeps repeating itself, which is really sad. That's just one aspect of, this land, for example.
But that's a huge aspect. That's a
Yeah.
massive aspect because it's affecting everybody that's there. Because on a grand scale, that energy is still active.
Yes.
The lives that got affected by that energy are still, it's still operating today.
Yeah.
So it's not just addressing it that needs to happen, but I think that a lot of theft occurred, just like it did in North America. Theft that was
Yeah.
just taken from the people, land, life, everything was taken. So that comes with a huge karmic debt.
Yeah, exactly.
And then whoever lives on that land from there on, I mean, it's a karmic debt that you're going to be responsible for in one way or another.
Yeah, exactly.
So even if they were to acknowledge it, and they do, just like in North America, they acknowledge, they do their little 2 minutes of recognition,
Yes.
um, and, and they think that that's enough or whatever, which it isn't. It's ridiculous. But then you have to go deeper. You have to go far deeper in it, because see, at the same time that happened, they wanted to take the magic of the Aboriginals.
Yes.
See, what comes in to take over wants to take everything and use it for their own glory. And then you have to look at, well, what was that? How has that been used? How's that? It's another form of it's a type of magical theft, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because their heritage, yeah, they believed in the dream time, like they thought that was the
They
reality. They
they
were the
walked in dream time. They walked
exactly.
through dream time.
Yeah.
Like literally, they walked through it, which means, I know that there were quite a lot of Aboriginals who, in the flesh, were able to manifest both states of being at the same time and literally walk through it, find themselves on the opposite end, future, past, present.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
So that's an absolute.
Yeah.
I mean, fascinating, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then
Well,
taking from knowledge of the beginning, the continent of Australia, AU means gold.
oh, really?
Yes. So Australia,
Yeah.
AU. Okay. So land of gold.
Jeez. Okay.
That originally in super, super ancient times, Australia was being literally mined for its gold because much of the continent itself, the part that broke off
Mm.
from the ancient Mu, um, was made of gold.
Ah.
So Australia, AU, Stral means star, gold star.
Oh wow.
Australia, golden
Yeah.
star. And then nobody knows, right? Like
No,
that's
no. It makes sense. I had that thought today, actually. Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah.
I mean, not that direct thought, but
That's a rich culture, right? That means that your continent was it didn't even look like it does today. Okay? Once
yeah.
upon a time, it was lush, supreme. The Aboriginals that you survived all the cataclysms, they
Mm.
came from the old world, not the old world connected to this cycle. They came from the last cycle
Mm.
prior to this one. They're the
Wow.
remnants.
Yeah, because I think they were probably one of the first. I mean, there's a theory that I think it's Stephen Evan Strong that have to do with the Aboriginal Australians, that they were the first um, humans, I guess, or civilization, or whatever you want to call
Well,
it.
they're
Yeah.
according to this last cycle. That's what his research says. I just know that they're from the last cycle. This
Ah.
not this one, but the one before this one.
Is
And
that
so
the 12,000 year cycle?
well, this one is 12,600 whatever years. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's usually depending on which kind of cycle we're talking about, because there's like mini cycles and then there's like the big cycle.
Oh, okay.
The 12 is a mini cycle.
Mini cycle. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like a part of a grander cycle. So a quarter of a larger, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that
Like
makes sense.
the
Yeah.
the most significant catastrophic cycles are around 26,000 years. So
Yeah.
12,000 is, like I say, it's a smaller version of a larger cycle. But to even have remnant survivors from that have brought forward the old knowledge that doesn't even belong to this cycle is
Mm-hmm.
fascinating.
Yes.
Fascinating, really.
Yeah.
And it's not something you find just anywhere.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I mean, the land changed over time dramatically because the Aboriginals that had to live in Australia in this cycle ended up having to live in an environment that was really harsh. That wasn't the way it was prior in the other cycle. It was a lush continent until it was mined. Like they mined it until it, became, well, almost dead really, because there's the desert. It's like it's an
Yeah.
unnatural desert. The majority of the country now is just it's a red clay desert, kind
Mm-hmm.
of a red sand desert, where mostly it's just the coastal areas that have life and inside, but
Yeah,
that's
that's
due
right.
to what's been done to it.
Oh,
Somehow the remnant survivors managed to find a way to survive through that I find also unbelievably incredible. I don't know if they could do that without Dreamtime. Because Dreamtime, it allows them to find water, it allowed them to find everything that they needed because they were in balance with it, in balance with the timing. They knew, they could hear the spirit, right?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then how do you throw away a culture like that? How does I mean, people have been doing that to every culture of this realm, really. Like there isn't one culture that hasn't been invaded by somebody, like the Vikings are doing it, the
Mm-hmm.
Spanish, the Dutch, the British, the Americans, I don't know, the Chinese, everybody. I don't know I can't think of anybody that hasn't done this.
Yeah, that's right.
Really, everybody's guilty of it. And we're all like, everybody's a casualty really of it.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, it's really fascinating. I do see that. I know what you're saying with the old world and how I don't know how they've managed to really destruct that way of thinking here, but it's very prevalent. Like in the city, it's just completely technocratic. You can't, like, it's just everybody's living in that grid system. And I don't understand how it got to that point. Like I mean, I grew up with this stuff. Like I did grow up with technology, and then I slowly came out of it though because I realized I was so I don't know, hooked onto it. Like
Yeah.
as a kid, like, and it was just
Yeah, so you had it from the time that you were like right at the beginning. You had it.
yeah, pretty much like, and like I grew up with it. Like I had a computer when I was about 7 or 8, I think. So really young. And
Yeah.
then, you know, yeah, like I had a,
See, we were when I grew up, I didn't have it until I was in high school. It wasn't until I was in grade 9.
yeah. So you had a childhood like without technology.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah,
And
yeah,
I watched, I knew as soon as we got it. I mean, we had technology up until that point. It's just that, the difference was that it was the large companies that had the computers and it was the government and facilities.
yeah,
But finally, when, schools got computers, I mean, computers were already everywhere anyway. It's just that, they allowed
yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
to have computers. And, from that point on, I think I remember, I don't know if it was DOS or DOS or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So DOS, remember, that was like the first computer. I
I
think
remember
that was,
that.
that's what the governments use to this day.
Oh, yeah, because it's not trackable or, yeah.
It's not trackable. Yeah, it's fascinating because the only way that you know that too is if you worked at some point for the government, or did anything
Yeah.
like that, because then you realize, oh,
Oh, that's right.
you
I have worked for the government actually. Yeah. No, I
I
mean
mean,
not directly, but no, I just realized, sorry to cut you off, but I used to work in an insurance company and they use DOS as well, like for all the programming side. And I
yeah,
always wondered, like, it wasn't that long ago. It was like 2012.
that's
So
not that long ago. Well,
yeah.
that's the same. Like, no, I'm not saying all government uses DOS, but usually, like, the court system does,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Law,
that's right.
like
Yeah.
the areas that they really don't want people hacking, they use
Mhm.
DOS.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody else is like thinks that I mean, the next thing we're gonna do is holographic computers.
Mm.
Yeah, that's antiquated, of course, but of course we're gonna have that. That's been in existence. Well, it's been in existence forever, but the illusion is ancient civilizations have never had it, and
Mm.
we're new to discover it's bull crap. That's not true. Holographic technology has been in existence for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. We've had many civilizations who've had holographic technology. So, so we're not the first,
Yeah.
but that's the next, which would be a little bit, I mean, what difference does it make really if maybe it's just going to be easier for us to pull up our holographic computer wherever we are. And, if people think it's such a great idea, maybe they're going to think it's a great idea to have a chip in their head too.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous, dangerous thing. But there are actually people who think that that's not a bad idea. And, this is where you come into the question, what is real and what isn't? Who's real? Who isn't? I mean,
Yeah.
this
The
rabbit hole is
fine
deep.
line. Huh?
This rabbit hole is deep.
Right. Yeah, it's really deep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
scary. Yeah, geez.
I think I'm veering off because I think you had some questions.
I know, this is good.
So
No. I had some subjects that I wanted to talk about, but I thought that where it directed was even more, like where we were starting to talk about was more interesting. So it's fine.
well, it's probably gonna it all weaves into
The
each
same.
other,
Yeah.
like it all intersects in one way or another. But yeah, ask away.
Yeah. So do you think that we can manifest things in like like physically manifest items? Do you think that's something that I know this is
Well,
random, but
I know we've manifested everything we're living in.
yes.
That's more than an item.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's like an entire world that you're living in that you've manifested. We absolutely can manifest and do manifest. The problem is what's being manifested largely is being manifested subconsciously and through unconsciousness.
Mm.
So, you know, you have forces utilizing your creative abilities in manifesting. So it's manifesting on your behalf, for you, for it, whatever it is,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
If we all had, I mean, the whole purpose of all of this work is to get people to stand in their own consciousness and be accountable, be responsible for how they use their creativity, which means every decision you have to make in consciousness and not be like, oh, well, no, I love my crutches and I love my excuses and justifications. Like, we have to get out of that.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
So if everybody is consciously aware of what they create, how they create, whatever they're creating in the moment, you will begin to see people creating, manifesting in a conscious way. So far, what's happened is largely as a result of co-consciousness through the manipulation via many types of forces and technologies and methodologies and magic and
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of evidence for that, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, because
so,
yeah.
so we will. I mean, what it's like going to school, right? Once you learn how to be responsible for every choice you make, and you make it carefully, and it's in balance, and it's connected to spirit, and you know it's the right path, you get to the point where you learn how to read these energies better and better and better. And like, I mean, qigong teaches people how to
Mm.
read energy, how to feel it, how to work it, how to even grow it, right? So that you actually begin feeling that you're creating an energetic ball, and then you can move things with it if you're disciplined enough, right? But
Yes.
sure, of course we can get to the point where you're talking about, the point where I'm like, I like an orange and I'd like it right now. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So totally, absolutely, that's what's in us, because we're meta beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just we're like meta beings gone rogue, you know, like children gone rogue, running around like unconscious and just.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
well,
I do see that in a lot of adults these days now, because I've heard the term a lot. Like people, like grown-ups are sort of like just children, you know, like running around in their childhood traumas. And I just realized, you know, how much that is so, because I've realized in myself first, and then I've realized in others as well. I'm not saying that we can't come out of it, but it's just as a child, I guess you look up to adults, obviously, and you
yeah,
just
but then you realize everybody's a child.
yeah.
I mean, we're all like, this is some kind of we're in our own kind of school growing up and learning how to grow up, essentially, because you've got, you know, it's akin to, I'm going to give an example. Let's say, you know, a child is gifted, and sometimes you have these savants, right? Like these children that are just complete savants and amazing. So, but if
Oh,
they're savants,
yeah.
in a certain way, like let's say you get a kid who just can make bombs,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's really good at doing stuff like that. But he's a kid, right? He's going to make bombs and they're going to go off because he's going to make them and learn that they go off. So it's like, but adults are doing the same thing. They're going and doing things, not understanding anything about what's really going on or the forces, and then they're meddling with like the demonic principalities. They're meddling with all manner of things, not knowing what they're doing.
Yes.
Like completely, like a child would run in, you know, not having a clue that they're running into a very dangerous thing. But it's very much like that.
Mm.
So we are not in control of our abilities. We are not in control of what we're capable of doing, of our potential. Most people's potential lies inside the subconscious and the unconscious, and the co-creative forces that are, you know, creating this matrix system
Illusion. Yeah.
of illusions. Yeah.
That's what I find hard to break through the that matrix illusion and create properly, because you do find things stop you in your way, and like, you know, it like seemingly a lot of stuff works out, but then like you know that there is that influence still, and you're just like, well, where is it, and like, how do I know which is me? And like, it's just so confusing. And
It's very confusing.
yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, there is, I mean, there's a point to all of this. There's a point to even how we experience the type of life we experience. And in many ways, it's absolutely true that everybody is living in their own version of the reality that they've created. And in my experience can be completely, absolutely different from your experience or anybody else's, yet we're all in the same, quote, realm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, but it is, and it can be very confusing. And I think there's a lot of need to separate certain things, so it's not all, doesn't all get confused, because part of the problem is that, you know, having to be in a position where we need to survive and we need to pay bills and we need to eat and we need to like just create what we need just to maintain the physical body.
That's right.
That means that, okay, so the current system is set up in such a way that this is how we're doing it to survive. That's in conflict with how we truly can manifest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's already creating a contradiction within ourselves. So you can't fully embrace your power when you're sitting inside a contradiction.
That's right.
So then what you have to do is you have to work the reality you're currently in such a way that you have the most amount of autonomy and freedom. AKA, maybe instead of working for somebody who you can't stand in some firm that you just don't even know why it exists.
Yes.
Maybe try and find a way to get your own business going.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe try and find a way to get your own autonomy, so the power goes back into you and your universe, and then you'll be able to access more of your ability, more of that gift, that meta being gift will be able to surface, and you will be able to see more fruit coming from your manifesting labors. But, you know, if you're fully integrated in the matrix in such a way that you can't find a little bit of freedom and autonomy on your own, in your own terms, in your own world, yeah, it becomes harder. But absolutely, that's the challenge for everybody.
Yes.
You know, everybody's got to eat, everybody's got to pay bills, everybody's got to live.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, I mean, it survive really, because I don't think we're going to be, quote, living until we're truly in our more of our power, and we are more you know, disengaged from the matrix and disengaged from the government. Like, come on, can we just put to bed all this stupid voting and all this garbage? It just means nothing. You know, this is just enslavement for serfs. I mean, there's a reason why the royal families, when you look at their crests, many of their crests have a hawk or an eagle that is like picking up a sheep.
Really?
Yeah, because we're the U's. We're the U's. EWEUYOU. We're the U's. Right? That's a sheep. That's a name for a sheep.
Yeah, okay. Right.
This is what they're telling us when they put those things out for everybody. Everybody looks at them and says, "Oh wow, that's their crest." And he's like, "Look at the crest. will you? Well, look at it.
Oh dear.
Is that the world you want to keep living in? Because that they're telling you what you are to them, and what,
That's right. Well, at least, I mean, because you're in America, at least it's not a
Yeah,
problem.
I'm in Canada. Well, I'm in Canada.
Oh, you ain't. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I thought you were in America. Okay. Yeah. So.
Canada. I know a lot of fantastic people from America, for sure. I'm glad I'm not there. So
yeah. Sorry, my bad. Okay.
no,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I think that it's there's so much going on everywhere, really. I mean,
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
there's yeah. Again, you're looking at a dynamic per country, right? Every country is going through a lot of things, but just certain countries have a little bit more quiet, a little bit more. It's just they're different kinds of zones, right?
Yeah, of course.
So, but a lot of this is acting too. If you look at America, America is full of actors, right? All the government players, actors. They're all actors.
Yeah, they're not actually doing anything. Yeah.
They're acting. They have a script to play, and so they're doing it. And it's I don't know. I guess it'll just keep going until people are sick of it and they realize that they've just been terribly had, and that when they could be creating the world that they want to live in, they're living in shit.
Yeah.
That has been created through their subconscious, through agreements of entrapment, through the unconscious, because you believe in voting and you believe in all that crap. You believe in what they call schools, educational system. It's not education in those systems. There's no it's just pure mind control programming to create good use.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, definitely.
So, I mean, there's no easy way around this. This is the thing. There's no easy way around this.
No.
People are going to have to do the hard thing. They're going to have to make the hard choices. It's going to be uncomfortable through the transition, whatever you choose, because as soon as you choose to start unplugging from the system, it's going to hurt in other ways.
Yeah.
Until such time that you can, get on your feet, hopefully with some community that you are all able to, do it off grid. If enough people did that off grid, if enough communities got together and did this, so that the government would have less and less power, the schools would be what? Empty? Oh
yeah.
Right? It all would be empty. Then what?
They'll just shut them down, and eventually.
It's a fallacy.
Yeah.
Their identity is a fallacy. The fact that they say that they are a government and they're, governing over you, and that they, quote, have any authority. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's like crap. It's crap. It makes me mad. Because people buy it. It's just like the same as court. People buy it. It's like you get these people playing a role, and they're just actors, and they're nothing at all. And you say, well, who's judge? Who made you judge? And what principality made you judge? Show me, prove it to me. They can't do it. It would be like me going up to them in the courthouse and saying, I'm your judge.
Yeah.
Because I'm from the government of, like, elephant over there. And I've been made the judge over you, judge. So I'm the judge. It's no different.
Yeah, it isn't actually. Yeah.
It's no different.
Put too much trust and faith into the government. That's our problem. We're born into that. So, yeah.
Right. Everybody, it's a given, right? They put on some outfit that makes you feel intimidated because it's an outfit that says that they have authority. Yeah. This is how they work. It's psychology.
Yeah,
psychology. Yeah. So they put on this garb and they act in a certain way, and they're imprinting on you, I am authority, and then they use a certain cadence in their voice. Rose,
That's right.
whoop, you know, and then you're just like, yes, right? This is like, it's all psychology.
Yeah, it's all psychology. Yeah. Well, like, yeah, it is. It's all a mental game. Like, well, here, I did mention that it's quite, like the energies are quite dark and stuff. Like, I've been to the mental hospital actually 3 times in Australia because of like me trying to break the field of my own programming and stuff like this. And
Yeah,
so it got like really confusing for me, you know, during that time period. And still, I'm sorting throughout all that stuff.
yeah.
But going like to the hospital and seeing like, you know, actually, I figured out in the hospital it was not as bad as what I'd probably think the environment would be, because essentially I felt like every place was a hospital or a jail. It was like it freed me. I was like, what am I scared about? And I don't care like being locked up, or like, because I've done it, like I've been
Uh-oh.
3 times now. So and it was a difficult time for me, but I think just like trying to heal from that. Oh, yeah, just trying to heal from that, and then leave that aside. I just realized that, yeah, like what you said, a lot of the stuff people affront you with is just, it's just an intimidation thing. They're just trying to make you believe into what they think is right, which is like a fear-based belief anyway. Like they just want to harvest our fears or whatever it is, and then
Yeah,
exert that and create their
yeah,
manifestations rather than our, you know, what we want here.
yeah.
So
They have no more authority than you do.
yeah, exactly.
Nobody here has any more authority than you do. Do you know?
Especially over
This is
your own body, you know. Yeah,
your own body, your life, whatever. Like it just, they, it's a sham. It's a sham, and it's based on corruption,
it is. Yeah.
control, corruption. I find it fascinating what you said about your experience in the hospital. I'm just curious about how, like, what did you
What
get out?
happened?
Yeah, and what
Yeah,
happened?
because during that time, actually, I was working, and I quit my job, and I thought like, oh, I'm really sick of just playing this game of you know, just doing a full-time job and wasting my energy, because I always felt like I had something more to do here. And during that period, like I was with my husband. We weren't married yet, but yeah, we went through a lot of stuff. And anyways, like we were having a lot of arguments, and like we had personal stuff. Like I found out that he had, you know, he had cheated on me and stuff like this, which I eventually forgave him for because it was not a big deal. But during that period, like a whole lot of psychic stuff was happening. So I knew it was like attacks and stuff like this, that other forces were targeting me. And then, anyways, I was left alone at one point, and then like the police and ambulance came inside my home, and I was by myself, and they just took me away. And I thought about it, and I was like, why did I let them inside? I shouldn't have let them in the home, because they were basically, they were knocking on the door, and I think one of my friends had called them to say I was acting erratic and stuff. And when they came in, I was just at home, and I think I was sorting through paperwork and stuff like that on the coffee table, and then just, yeah, they just took me away, and like they kept asking me questions about like, you know, are you okay, and blah blah blah, you've been acting erratic and stuff. And like it wasn't even things that, I wasn't being harmful to myself or to another person, you know. I was just lying down in the sun, doing like stuff just to try and clear my mind, or try and break free from all the
Yeah,
stuff that was in my mind. And then obviously, you know, because they're so like, I don't know how, what kind of legislation they have against, you know, people just to take people away from their homes. But I was just, you know, after going through that, I was just so pissed off. Like even during that time, I was pissed off. I was like, you know, why can you take me in this condition? I haven't done anything. I haven't harmed anyone. But obviously, I didn't have any leg to stand on, because it was like 2 police officers, I think, and like 3 ambulance members or something like this. There was a whole bunch of them. And so it was really traumatizing. And then, yeah, so I went into the hospital and, you know, they force injected some chemicals into me, and they wanted to like make me, I guess probably schizophrenic or something. But in the end, like after 3 submissions, they determined that I had bipolar, and which I still don't, I don't actually, I don't, you know, put that onto me, because I know that it's just a psychiatric label, and they just want me to take the medication, which I always didn't want to take. And so yeah, I actually didn't care even if they called me like totally insane. It was more the fact that I got put into an institution, and then I had to take the medication. I had to do what they wanted me to do. You know, like I was like, this is not right, you know. And in any opportunity, I'll just, you know, pretend to drink the medication as well.
Yeah, that's fascinating because I know here you can't just do that. You can't have somebody taken away to a mental institution for assessment. You have to have a reason. It has to be they're either harming themselves, or B, they're
Yeah,
harming somebody else.
yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah,
you can't just like, oh, you know, we're throwing you in there, and that's that, like, because we got a phone call from so and so. So it's very interesting that, you know, that they can do that there. Like,
I don't think they can. That's the thing. I haven't researched it properly.
well, you opening the door, maybe, right? You opening the door.
Yeah, I opened the door for them to come in. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, agreement of entrapment.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I thought, because I saw them, and then I was like, I should have ignored them. You know, I should have ignored them, but I let
Yeah.
them in the home, and then yeah,
So how long were you in there for?
I think it was 2 weeks the first time, and then the second time I had a car accident on just before the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And then obviously they saw, okay, this one was a bit, this was more strange, like what was happening during that time. But I'll just, yeah, I had a car accident, and then I had like an impact thing and then they just took me to the closest hospital, and then they scheduled me again. And I was like, oh, because obviously I know something was happening to me psychically, and I can't explain exactly what it was, but you know, like it was just me trying to free myself from all this stuff, like entrapments or whatever, contracts, you know, and things that were in my mind that were trying to block me from progressing. I don't know how you would call it, but
Was
yeah.
it a shock to you though when you started getting a lot of psychic, you know, experiences? Is it like something that kind of overwhelmed you because you were getting a clear channel suddenly out of the blue?
No, it was, well, I think it was always there, like, but I think it just became really strong all of a
Yeah.
sudden. So it felt like really hard hitting, and I couldn't escape from it. So I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know exactly what it was, but I feel like it was a few influences around.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
You were picking them up.
I've explored everything. I'm like, well, maybe I was, you know, abducted or something when I was a child, or I couldn't, I really, and I'm trying to figure out what was going on. And, but even still today, it's really difficult for me to know, like, sometimes, is it me or is it something that's influencing me?
Yeah.
So I know I have a lot of these energies just trying to block me, but it's
Yeah.
just trying to.
Probably block and bombard you all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird combo. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so you have certain energies that come in and expressly to block you so that you can't make any breakthroughs, and then you've got other energies that come in to overwhelm you to keep you inundated so that the block works better.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening. So it's
Yeah.
coming from both angles. So I just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that experience, like, if you were to say, I always had this theory that if you were absolutely not insane and they put you in one of those hospitals and you stayed there long enough, you go insane.
Probably, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. because, and I think this is what's happened in the past, where a lot of people that were ahead of their time, that were actually breaking through and breaking down the matrix, and they were suddenly, you hear of these stories all the time, where they were taken into institutions and then they did go mad, or they had a lobotomy, or that was a way to contain them.
Yeah, I
keep them
know.
from.
Speaking out, or
You have that actress in Hollywood, I think it was in the 1950s. I think her name was Karen Tucker,
oh, okay.
or
No, no.
Kathy Tucker. She was a famous actress, and like a glamour Hollywood actress, and she or Farmer. It was Farmer Tucker.
Ah,
Like,
okay.
it was Farmer. They
Yeah.
made a movie out of it, but they institutionalized her. She wasn't crazy. She was extremely sharp, extremely smart. She was catching on to what was really going on, and she was talking about it. She was actually talking about what was going on in Hollywood and the programs and everything. They put her in an institution and gave her a lobotomy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Same with you. I mean, you hear a lot of, oh my God, it's endless actually. But it just reminds me of another experiment that was done by, a government that took a bunch of people unbeknownst to them, and they never told them that they were sterilizing them.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, they're just yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine now. Sorry. I'm so sorry. There's just a bit of interference in the background. Okay.
Do they want to come and have coffee with us?
Yeah, yeah. They literally came and opened the door. They were about to open the door. Oh,
It could be like the coffee hour.
yeah, exactly.
Show.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah.
I mean, the good thing about what's going on is that more and more of these things are coming to light.
Yeah, that's right.
In the past, they would just get away with it. So you've got hundreds and hundreds of people that were, like in that situation where I'm talking about, if not thousands, who were sterilized unbeknownst to them, and they weren't even told what was being done to them. They went in and they were knocked out, then they had surgery. And and then they were released only to discover that they were sterilized. They had been sterilized and they could never have children, and they never even knew it.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going on, and that has been going on from the beginning.
Jeez. So they literally, wow, okay.
Yeah, so if you have I think it was that anybody that was deemed mentally unstable in any way, or had any kind of emotional dysregulation or whatever, they were all basically taken to this hospital, and over time they were all sterilized, because it was a quiet, silent program where they didn't want to have them have children, and they wanted to see what would become of their lives. And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of there's the men that were infected with syphilis.
Mm-hmm.
There was that experiment that happened where a bunch of men were injected with syphilis from a prison in the US. And there was another one where it's endless. So, you've got on many levels, many things going on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we live in our own little bubble.
Mm.
And because we live in our bubble, we're not really aware of the depth of what they're getting away with. We only hear what they want us to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's disturbing, because that's what they want us to hear. So, imagine what they don't want us to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Things that some things I laugh at, but they're not funny at all.
Yeah.
But I grew up at a time when the sky was beautiful and blue, and we had cumulus clouds.
Yeah, right. The round.
So, beautiful cumulus clouds.
Yeah.
And And now, of course, like the majority of the sky all over the world is all chemtrail, but the new generations they don't know anything different. They think the chemtrails are normal.
Yeah.
So there's nothing normal about that. But even you don't even have. They're just doing that. They just started doing that. It was like nobody said anything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It took a lot of people going out and looking at the sky going, well, you know what? Like, I've never seen that before, but now I'm seeing it all the time. And what is it? You know, then you get other people who just start being savvy and they do tests on what they find on the leaves and on the bushes, because, you know, there's like, there was, right. Well, because it's coming down. Sun's coming down.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah, it's a little bit of everything going on.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's scary. I just think that, you know, like we should really have our basics met, but they're not being met. And I feel like, how are we supposed to get out of that? Because we don't have clean air, we don't have clean water. Like, what are we supposed to be, you know, doing? How do we
Well,
get
why
out
are
of
we
that?
paying for rent? Why are we paying for
Yeah,
money?
also that. Yeah,
Why are we paying for electricity and hydro? And why are we paying for the things that are our God-given right?
exactly.
It would be like
Yeah.
taxing the earth for being earth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's ludicrous.
It is ludicrous, yeah.
So enough of us have to become like the adversarial force that just says no. Enough of us to impact it, because nothing changes if nobody does anything, but not enough can change if only one or two does something.
Yeah, yeah. It has to be, yeah.
We need
It has
numbers.
to be the collective, yeah, in numbers, definitely. That's the only way that we can succeed. We can't really just have a community of one person. It's not gonna
It's like community of one. That's what it's been, because we're all spread all over the world and we're all apart from each other. So it's all like these little community of ones all over the place.
Although that's probably my tendency, because I do tend to, like, out of flight or fight, I do flight, but that's not the right thing. Like, it doesn't work. You need a tribe. You need, because we all help each other, and if we can all do this together, we'll all come out of it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to.
Really. Yeah.
There has to be a real impetus for us to do this together.
Yeah, exactly. But it comes down to
know?
intention. If people intend like more of what we want, then ultimately it should happen, right? Yeah. Ideally.
Enough of us.
Yeah.
I see we have like a little fellow fly. He really wants to be
Oh, you
interviewed.
can see him, yeah.
He's just
Yeah, he's bugging me.
he likes being on the video.
Yeah, probably. He's probably representing. You know.
He's representing his people.
Yeah.
His fly people.
That's right. It's white people.
We're people too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wanted to talk about bloodlines, but I don't know. Oh, I don't know that we have time for that. Maybe we can leave it for another time. Yeah.
How long have we been chatting?
I think it's been a couple hours now. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's been 2 hours. It's been 2 hours now. Oh.
Or almost. Maybe an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
There's always a lot, right?
Yeah, there's always a lot. Yeah.
Always a lot. So, okay, let me ask you a question. If you were to say what you came away with in those experiences that was really enlightening and helped you, what would it be?
I think it's just starting not to care about what people think, really, like from your heart, not from your head, like just actually breaking free of that, like, because I was trained to always be conscious of like the thoughts, you know, like what, like how to answer and how to, like, you know, do things, like, you know, in school they make you think their way, like if you don't think the way the teacher thinks, then you're not, you don't understand the material, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't understand anything. Whereas now I'm like, well, okay, everybody thinks differently, we need to respect that. We're all different, we don't have to think one way, you know, like, and
Brilliant.
yeah, I think that's the main thing. Yeah.
I think that's good. Also, I think it's great that you walked away, not, you know, finally not caring about what people think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm starting to awaken more to myself by doing that, because
Yeah.
I was in such a you know, trap of worrying about what people think of me, or you know, what I should be doing in accordance to what parents want, or to what other people think is right, as opposed to what I inherently know is morals, you know. And I know even morals are manipulated, so it has to
Oh,
come from
everything,
our own,
everything.
you know. Yeah.
Totally. So
Yeah.
what is your background?
Well, my mom's Indonesian and my dad's Turkish.
Oh,
But
interesting.
I'm Australian. Like I count
Yeah.
myself as Australian because I was born here. So there's obviously a purpose for that. But yeah, they
Oh,
met.
sure.
Yeah.
So that's so Indonesia and Turkey. That's fascinating.
Yeah. It's
A lot of ancient
fascinating.
history. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I don't know much about my family as well, if I think about it. Like, I never grew up with grandparents, and I saw my, I know like my cousins and aunts, but yeah, in terms of lineage, like from grandparents and stuff, I don't know much. I don't know much. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was interested in talking about that sort of stuff.
The lineage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the lineage and the way that the kingdoms have been, you know, allocated, the queendoms, and who is really royal and who isn't, and what, you know, what is really going on here.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of even how they're recognized as living, like everybody who's a royal, quote, a royal, earth royal, right, which I call counterfeit royal. They all have a living title,
Hmm.
while everybody else has a non-living title,
Ah, right. Okay. That's
right? Like,
yeah.
I
That makes
mean, you start doing the research in it, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like you're considered an animal.
Oh yeah. Really.
Yeah, you're considered a cattle. Yeah.
Gee.
And they're like they're a human, a living human,
Mm.
and then everybody else is like a cattle, like an animal, cattle.
Is that in the Constitution? Where's
This
that?
is yeah,
Oh, in their laws.
this is their law. This is according to their law too. So if you look at all the legal speak
Yeah.
and everything, the way that they have written it out, what even when you go to take insurance, if you were, did you work at insurance? Like you
Yeah.
said you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A while back. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So even if you look at the contracts, look
Yeah.
at the legalese of what they refer people as,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's still written in the legalese. It is all like nothing has changed with that.
Hmm.
So this is telling, because what they're telling everybody is that everybody's in their farm.
Hmm.
Okay,
Shit.
everybody's in their farm,
Yeah.
and they're the human masters,
Hmm.
and everybody else is a ewe or cattle, not even alive.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you mean like when they title, for example, you're talking about the like Mr. and Mrs. like, let's say Rose, Erkan, or yeah, Lauda Leon.
Any,
Right.
if
No.
you're not part of the royal families, then you constitute being a you or a cattle. You're an animal,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even a living animal. So unless you're a royal, quote, counterfeit royal family, that's the only time you're a living human,
It's
an
crazy.
alive human.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and if you look at the terminology under human for Black's law,
Oh, yeah.
the Black law, you start looking at the style, the terminology under the legalese of what they call style, the Red Book of Styles.
Yeah.
Style, interesting, right? The Black book, the Black
Yeah.
law, Black's Law book. I mean,
Yeah.
it tells you, right? Like you're part of an abortion. You're basically not, you're born dead.
Yeah.
And you're only alive through the placenta. Like, so they consider you to be basically stillbirthed, dead on arrival. And you know, you're technically organically alive only due to the placenta being, because the placenta is considered to be alive, still living tissue, but otherwise you're not. So you start doing the research into like how this entire civilization is constituted, how like how they built it up, and then you start really seeing how they placed everything in such a way that, you know, it really is like their farm.
Yeah.
We're the masters of the farm, and they don't even consider us. They don't consider humans outside of their quote counterfeit royal, you know, identities alive.
So you think that, like, is that in accordance to a birth certificate? So once
It's in
someone,
accordance to any kind of identification that you have.
oh, okay, yeah,
Bar being born in a society where nobody even knows, because there's no technology there, and you can be, you know, like certain areas are still intact in the world, in South America and in, you know, in Africa, like bar those places.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been born in any institution and given any kind of certification whatsoever, or you're in the system at, you know, as soon as you have a social insurance number, a number of identification, a driver's license, as soon as you have anything at all, as per the matrix, you're in the farm.
Okay. Yeah, that's basically everyone.
So that's basically everybody except them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right.
So, but that's what we have to undo. We have to do all of that. You know, I mean, the government, there's companies, corporations all over the world that are making money off of us, literally. Off of our social insurance numbers, off of birth certificates, off of everything that has our identity. They're making money. We are their,
How
you
are they
know,
doing that? Yeah.
we are their, what do you call it? I mean, currency. We're their currency. They're
Yeah.
making their currency, but I do not agree to those terms and conditions whatsoever, because it's my universe. I just want to say that. I have to be technical about this and
Yeah,
put
of
it out.
course. Yeah. Yeah, because it's complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is, once you start really realizing the ramifications of what it is to be attached to the matrix, and just, you know, you start really getting into the law. I remember, you know, when I was in university, I used to think of courses like the law and all that is just terrible. Like I thought, oh, I could never do that.
Yeah.
Just can't stomach that. It's just garbage. Only to realize that, you know, knowledge is power. I would have been better off learning all of that, you know, when I had the opportunity of being in university, because you actually need that information and knowledge to turn everything over.
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
dismantle it and tear it down from the inside. If you're from the outside, you're not gonna know anything. You're just gonna be like ignorant.
Yeah, which is, I mean,
what they want.
Yeah, they want that, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Even though, I mean, there is a lot of darkness to be had seeing through all that stuff. It's just like what you said, if you want to change it, you kind of have to know what you're up against. Otherwise, you just, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't, you'd be blindfolded and you'd make the wrong moves, you know? Not to say that there's right and wrong, but, you know, it's
But
better
you have to know.
Yeah.
You can't know unless you're from the inside, right?
Yeah,
You have to be coming at it from the point of the inside to know exactly how to tear it down.
exactly.
Because it's a lot harder having to do the research externally, you know, learning it the hard way.
Yes, it
Because
is.
if people just had the knowledge they need, then what it goes on and what they get away with, they wouldn't be able to get away with. There's people that, you
Yeah.
know, they're being imprisoned and all manner of stuff. You were taken to an institution. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
if
that
you had
was
the right
me
knowledge,
trying.
that would never have happened.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly. If we could just access our own library instead of going on the internet and or using books and stuff like this, it would
yeah,
be a lot easier, more complicated.
I know. So there's a lot to learn. I mean,
Yeah,
there's always a lot.
yeah, definitely.
So, and I just feel like we just started the conversation and we're going into 2 hours.
I know, yeah, me too. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I guess it's going to have to be the next time then, eh? We can go into the.
Yeah. I would
We can
love
actually go into the questions you had.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I think we only did the tip of the iceberg, like you said. We didn't,
Yeah.
yeah. We didn't do much, but we did,
Maybe.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we had to talk about the other stuff though.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I
Okay.
feel like that flowed really well. So it was a really
Yeah.
interesting talk we had.
Thank you, Rose. Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Lauda. Thank you, yeah, for giving me your time because I know how precious your time is, and I know that you're a busy woman. So I really honor and respect that. So thank you.
Yeah, I really need to, you know, change and alter the way Kronos does this ridiculous 24-hour-a-day thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, is it
He's
Connor?
fired. He's
Yeah,
fired.
yeah, he's fired. Yeah.
The other thing, you know, we got to change is people can't work 5 days a week or 6 days a week.
That's exactly right. Yeah, there's no
Okay, that's got to stop.
Yeah, that's one of the
Maybe
main
3 days a
things.
week.
3 days. Yeah, that's what I do at the moment. Yeah.
That's it. No, I think that's a healthy balance.
Yeah, I think so too. Because you don't have time for yourself and
No.
trying to, yeah.
And if
We're
you don't
trying
have
to change the earth here, you know, like, hello, we don't want to be stuck.
I know, right? We need time to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So if everybody just commands and demands that they can only work 3 days a week and that they have to increase the pay, balance this out for, you know, for it to be more humane and humanitarian. 3
Yeah,
days a week is more humanitarian, not this ridiculous industrial revolution slave hour.
exactly. Yeah.
You know, the work week is based on the industrial revolution,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, of enslavement.
And there's some really beautiful people that work 9 to 5, and I'm just like, you have so much potential. Just come on, just give yourself some time. That's it, you know. That's why I came out of it as well. I just needed to give myself some time. And then I realized, like, well, we don't actually need to be doing that. You know, we don't need to be working at all if it was right.
No.
Like,
But at the very least, if we still have to, okay, 3 days a week.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. You
That's
know?
it. Yeah, I think so.
Like drudgery enslavement 5-6 days a week and people are just like the living dead. That's like the zombie apocalypse.
Poor humans, yeah.
Oh my god. We can do it. You know, we can turn this.
All humans.
You know, what we are creating and working to create, we must do together.
Exactly.
So each and every one of us has to do our part, and together we are one body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
we all meet at one level or another somewhere, don't we? Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, always.
And we meet in multiple places at one time too. So
also that, yes. That's another topic, yeah.
Yeah. That's another one. Well, thanks for having me on, Rose. It's been
thank you, Lauda.
I feel like at your cafe, kind of in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you should physically be here sometime. It would be so nice to have you here.
I hope, yeah, one day soon I will. My plan is to do a convention over there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so then
Oh,
I
that's
can
so good.
pop over and have a coffee in the cafe.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll be in contact if you do that, for sure.
Yeah.
All
All right.
right.
Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, take care for now. We'll keep it at that, and then yeah, hopefully
We'll
we'll
get to
speak
the other
soon.
questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, next time. After, in the new year
Oh yeah, in the new year, yeah, because it
of,
gets busy. Yeah,
of the 2020, which is really not 2020, but that's okay.
it's not 2020. Ah, okay.
No, the year that the way that they've done the years and with this leap year thing and all of it, it's not a correct year.
It's
But
not
anyway,
accurate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. In accordance to the sun, you mean, or
yeah, in
yeah,
accordance to, yeah.
or everything. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a different. I can't. I'm gonna start going into a whole different topic. As soon as you said it, I was
I'm
gonna.
sorry.
We had a different sun before. I can like stop it.
I'm sorry. Yeah. This is what happens. I have a problem actually. Like, my husband tells me you really don't know when to like cut it off, and I'm like, true, yeah, I have that problem. Like when to say goodbye. Like I have this problem.
All right, one of us has to.
Yeah, yeah. No, we'll leave it at that for today. Yeah, yeah. Oh, dear. All right. Well, it's
All
lovely
right.
to speak to you anyway. So, if I don't speak to you in the like Christmas time, have a happy Christmas and
Yes.
enjoy the festive seasons. And yeah,
You too, and we'll chat after that all.
yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, Lauda.